Breaking news in the case of 9-year-old Elizabeth Olten, who cops say was stabbed and strangled to death by 15-year-old Alyssa Bustamante. Bustamante, shackled and in a green jumpsuit, appeared in court today where she pled not guilty to first-degree murder in the brutal slaying of Elizabeth Olten.
She killed for sport, she killed for a thrill. She's a cold-blooded psychopath, no remorse, no guilt.
In the indictment, they allege that she strangled, stabbed, and cut the little girl's throat.
Also, we learned in court that the Highway Patrol investigator said that Alyssa Bustamante told him she did the murder. She murdered Elizabeth Olten, a 9-year-old, because she wanted to know what it felt like.
Olten appeared emotionless in the hearing, remaining silent, her head constantly facing down.
The public defender has asked that she spend a few days in a state mental hospital to assess her current mental state and to prevent the possibility she may harm herself.
The judge has yet to rule on this motion.
Straight out to Lad Egan, news director anchor at KRCG, in court today. Lad, thank you for being with us. Why was the 15-year-old murder suspect in court?
She was in court today, Nancy, for an arraignment. Now, on the day back in November when she was certified to stand trial as an adult, she did not have a public defender. Her public defender in the juvenile court couldn't come with her to the adult court system. So today she was arraigned. She entered a plea of not guilty. However, she did not speak. Her attorney spoke on her behalf. They waived the formal arraignment and entered pleas of not guilty on both the charge of first-degree murder and the charge of armed criminal action. Now, she didn't talk in court at all. She kept her head down and had her hair covering her face a lot of the time. And interesting, also in court today, there were family members of Elizabeth Olten. That's the 9-year-old who was murdered. They wore pink to support Elizabeth. But on Alyssa Bustamante's side, not even her grandmother, who is her legal guardian, showed up to support her today.
I want to ask you another question about what happened in court today, Lad Egan. It's my understanding that the defense has asked the judge to take her to a psych unit, to put her in the mental ward, the sick bay, because of an alleged suicide attempt, and that suicide attempt would be she tried to scratch herself with her own fingernails. That's the suicide attempt?
Yes, and that was soon after she was arrested back in October. The jail said that she was using her fingernails to scratch up her arm so bad that she was bleeding. And at that point, they did take her to a psychiatric hospital in St. Louis for a period of time.
How does that rise to a suicide attempt? I'm going to throw it to you, Rupa Michelini, our producer on the story. How can scratching yourself with your nails be a suicide attempt? It is obviously a way to get in sick bay, which is notoriously better treatment, better facilities, better food. You get your own cell, you get privacy, you're treated with kid gloves, because she scratched herself with her fingernails. This after she murdered a 9-year-old girl with 3 causes of death: strangulation, stabbing, and slicing her throat. And they're worried the girl is scratching herself with her fingernails, Rupa?
Well, Nancy, we did learn last month that in the certification hearing that she does have a history of mental illness. She did try to commit suicide in 2007. She was treated for depression, she'd been in therapy, and she was on Prozac. So there is some evidence to suggest she does have a history of suicide.
Out to the lines. Carolyn in Kentucky. Hi, Carolyn.
Hi. Thank you for taking my call. I've tried to get you for quite a while.
Thank you for calling in, Carolyn.
Well, I appreciate the work that you do. I always follow these cases, and sometimes I actually cry over them. This young girl here, have they already completed her psychiatric evaluation, or are they in the process of doing that? I'm not clear of that.
What about it, Lad Egan? What can you tell us?
Well, in the juvenile court system, before they said that she was going to stand trial as an adult, there were a lot of psychiatric evaluations that went on, and it came out in the certification hearing that since she tried to commit suicide back in 2007, that she was undergoing intense, almost daily treatment for wanting to hurt herself. And the court said, the juvenile authority said, that she never talked about hurting other people, that it was always about hurting herself. However, since then, one of her friends has come forward and said that earlier this year at a party, Alyssa Bustamante pulled her aside and told the friend, "I wonder what it would be like to kill somebody." So, from what friends are saying, she did talk about hurting others.
We are taking your calls live. I want to go back to Rupa Michelini. Rupa, is it true that the only motivation we have thus far for this 15-year-old girl to cold-bloodedly murder a 9-year-old little playmate of her little sister was to see what it felt like, to kill somebody?
That is what she told investigators when she was interviewed after they found Elizabeth Olten's body, Nancy. She told an investigator that she admitted to digging 2 graves and told an investigator she wanted to know what it felt like to kill someone.
Unleash the lawyers, Sue Moss, Renee Rockwell, Mickey Sherman. There you go, Renee. What are you going to do with that if that's your client?
Well, first of all, Nancy, that's a statement that you want to keep out. Was she advised of her rights? Was she with a guardian?
You don't need to scream that any louder. Of course they don't want that in.
And but Nancy, here's the problem. As well as an attorney could do to keep that out, you're not going to keep out a statement that she gave to her little girlfriend at a party where she said the exact same thing.
Go ahead, Mickey. Give it your best try.
She's clearly psychotic, but no one's going to care about that because the crime she committed was so despicable. It brings back the memories of the Leopold and Loeb thrill killers of the 30s, where they killed the neighbor just to watch him die. Problem is, this girl is crazy. She's on Prozac. She wasn't on St. Joseph's aspirin. Yeah.
Hold on. Sue Moss, take a look at this video. Liz, can you pull up the video of her on YouTube? She's not crazy. She may be depressed. She may be suicidal, but that under the law isn't crazy. Here she is with the wherewithal to film herself, shocking herself and her little brothers for fun on an electric fence.
Oh,
all right?
So what?
The other pictures we were showing of you is her with fake blood coming out of her mouth and the black makeup like a clown around her eyes, her fingers pointed to her own head as if she's going to kill herself. You know, why Sue Moss, when people threaten suicide, do they end up killing people in their family and their neighbors? Why?
Oh, because this woman is evil. She's not trying to kill herself. She knows how to kill somebody. She knows how to stab. She knows how to strangle. She knows how to slit somebody's throat. She knows how to do the deed if she really wanted to do it.
Whoa,
it didn't
hold
take
on.
her too
You know
long
what,
to kill
Sue
that
Moss?
9-year-old.
You just reminded me of something. She told cops that she dug 2 graves 5 days before she lured a 9-year-old little girl to her death. That is premeditation.
There was going to be another. Thank God they found her.
One specific time, it was on her birthday. I was at her party and she kind of just took me off to the side randomly and she's like, you know, I wonder what it would be like to kill somebody, because I guess she was mad at one of her friends there, but it just seemed kind of strange, but you wouldn't logically think one of your friends would kill somebody, you know.
Sometimes I wonder if Nancy Grace has any common sense whatsoever. When she was talking about Alicia scratching herself and apparently drawing blood. You know, there are ways to scratch yourself on your arm if you go on the inside of your arm near your wrist. If your nails are long enough and sharp enough, you could cut the veins in and bleed, just as if you were to take a razor or a knife to your wrist. So her common sense is totally lacking.